Topo Athletic is committed to lifelong health and better movement. Topo builds running shoes for those who get out there every day regardless of weather, speed, energy, or mood. Their distinctive fit and feel combines instinctive human movement with modern performance and lightweight comfort to help you keep going, keep trying, and keep moving. Discover the Topo difference and step into a run experience unlike any other.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 106th episode of our Fireside Chat. Today we have a very special guest, and I know we say that often because they are very special, but today is especially special. It's because we're going to be joined by Brittany Olson of Sunrise Trail Coaching. I've known Brittany for a number of years, dating back to when we both raced Black Canyon, and we didn't know each other. We just know that we raced Black Canyon together that same year. And then when I lived in Phoenix, Lori and Brittany made fast friends, and we've been friends ever since, even working at the same running shoe store for a little bit there. So we're going to bring Brittany on here in a moment. We're going to chat with her about Sunrise Trail Coaching. We're going to talk to her about a recently launched program she has called TrailblazeHER. And then, of course, we got to talk about food. So without further ado, we are going to bring Brittany out from the back room. Hey, Brittany, how are you?
Hey, good. I just got a notification that Run Try Bike is going live. So, yay, we did it. Woo, yeah. No, stoked to be here. So, yeah.
Almost 9 times out of 10, there's always some sort of technical glitch and some difficulty with this. And we seem to have made it here without any issues. So you must be our good luck charm. We might have to put you in the back room for every show going forward.
That's right. That's right. The prep is way fun, so might as well.
All right. So before we get started on the real serious topics, we need to ask our question of the day, which is what we always ask our guests, and that leads to who gets to lead the show, whether you agree with Om or myself.
I already know the answer to this. I'm not ready for this.
No pressure, though. Feel free to lie if you need to. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
There's nay.
I just switched orientation. We're gonna have Jason up top now.
It's every time Om puts pineapple on Instagram, I'm like, fuck you, Om. Like literally. Like almost exclusive. I'm like, no.
I love how much this show has evolved to the point where like we had that talk with Brandon Hozak about cursing on the show, and you're just like, fuck you, like we are not the BBC, so it doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is I think last week we had 4 or 5, maybe 6 people send us memes of pineapple on pizza in various different formats. Like they weren't the same meme. They were all different. And it just become hilarious that people are now sending us. Some people are even sending us pictures of the pizza that they're eating. It's phenomenal.
That's one of your knowables. That's how we know you. You got to keep that up. Heck yeah. Did I tell you guys the pineapple on pizza that I used to, like the story that I used to do when I used to work as a trainer?
No, let's hear
Oh
it.
my God. How do you not know? So I used to train financial advisors at Edward Jones. So I was in a classroom and I'd facilitate conversations. So we did an icebreaker at the beginning and I would introduce myself. And I was like, hey guys, like this one question is going to let you know that if you're going to make it as a financial advisor here or not. And I was like, do you agree with pineapple and pizza or not? And they were like, oh shit, she said, like, and every class I started it that way. So like when I was being observed by another trainer, like they knew it was coming, and everybody was like, oh crap, we got to answer this right. So yeah, so that's what I used to, for like 2.5 years, that was my intro until I left that job. Yeah.
I love it. That's phenomenal. So, I don't care if you can do math. If you're putting pineapple on pizza, you're going to be broke before you know it.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, hey, thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a community leader for Run Try Bike. That means the world to us. The things that you're doing out in Phoenix are phenomenal, helping women get out on the trail, but also get into the gym to get strong and be able to do the things that they are capable of doing when it comes to trail and ultra running. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that out of the gate. Like, you know, a lot of people raise their hand and they say, I'd like to be a coach. I'd like to be a coach. I'd like to be a coach. But then they realize the amount of work that it takes. And it's not just as simple as saying, go run 2 miles, go lift weights. You have to really get into it. So for you, how did you get started in coaching and why?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a long story, so I'll try to keep it within 2 hours to not lose people. But so I mean, I've always liked helping people. Like I've been lifting weights now for 18 years. I did not start running until a little bit later in life. Like, I hear you're running coaching now, and that was really how the actual like part of the running coaching started. The coaching piece of it though has always just kind of been there. I've always loved mentoring people. I've always loved helping people. And I feel like with my background in sports, but also just having like a lot of experiences that I worked myself through because I would isolate a lot. Not that that's good, but like I was coaching myself through a lot of like mindset things that I feel are super helpful to other people. So that's the summarization of it.
So I'm going to follow that up and then I'll turn it over to Owen. But like, people are people, right? One day we like something, the next day we hate it. One day we think we want to do 100 miles. The next day we're like, yeah, maybe a 5K is cool. So how is it to be able to take the mindset coaching, right, and marry it to the run coaching to be able to bring a holistic approach to the athletes you're working with?
Yeah. And you and Owen probably know my answer to this. It's asking them a bunch of questions, asking the athletes questions. I know it's a big joke with me is somebody asks me a question and I ask them 5 back. But that is what I do. Like even my current athletes, whether they're current athletes, potential athletes, whoever they are, when they ask me a question, I'm asking them a few back. So somebody's like, hey, I want to run a 50K. I'm like, tell me more about that, and then whatever they tell me is where my questions branch. Because a lot of times I'll get the answer of like, well, I just want to bump up to the next level and I'm going to do this 50K, say it's across the years, and I want to do a 50K in 6 hours. And I'm like, okay, what makes you like want to run a 50K in 6 hours? And then if I get a silence, I'm like, well, I said, like, is it like, do you have a speed goal? Is it like, hey, I want to see pretty things when I'm running? Like, is it that? And everybody's like, oh, I love trail running. I just want to run further. And I'm like, okay, like you just told me though, you want to do it on a looped course. And and all of a sudden they're like, and I'm like, go run some loops. And they'll run loops. And I don't know how many trail runners have gotten back to me and said, I don't want to run a 50K that, but that's just a silly example maybe, but like that is like, I've had that happen where people are like, hey, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, tell me why. And then from there is where the questions start branching off. Because some people have a fantastic why. Some people it's like, I've trained for a 50K 3 times on my own and I've always got injured. Okay, let's talk about that. And then that's how we learn how to build up their strength. But a lot of times their confidence has already started dropping too because of those injuries and just like having to get back to it. So that's how I work. It's asking question after question and can't form a response. You got to sit there and listen to them. And if you don't understand what they're saying, especially as a coach, ask another question. Ask them to repeat it in a different way. Because there's times where somebody tells me something, I'm like, I don't quite get what they said. And I just follow up with another question. So it's never assuming what that person wants.
Yeah, I'd imagine that a big part of the puzzle is like people walking in and I think we all know this, but like not every race, no matter even if it's the same distance, is created equal because of like you're doing with different terrain, different conditions, different goals. Because for one athlete, it might be, I just want to finish my first 50K. And for another one, it's, I want to finish in 6 hours. And then I can imagine you're asking them these questions and they might even realize that they're not even sure what they want. And you have to kind of like branch out and like ask them more questions. Now, when you first started coaching, was that something that you kind of figured out as you went, like being able to ask those questions through experience? Was there like, did you build your process over time of like how you branched off into those questions?
Yeah. So it's definitely evolved and changed. I've always been you'd laugh. I always used to be a quiet child. I was one. Yeah, I know, right? You're like, yeah, right. But I was very shy. I was very quiet and I listened a lot. That was part of I was a perfectionist and a people pleaser. So that was part of it. But I grew up just like listening. Like that's how I was, which is weird now because people are like, oh my God, you can talk for hours. But, but how it started was like, I remember when I was struggling, like, I had lost, a baby through miscarriage and then a going through a divorce. And I just remember trying to isolate and having a friend who did ask me a lot of questions too. And that made me start like thinking, and this person was not asking questions to be nosy, which is what was a big difference. They were genuinely caring and asking me questions and listening for my response. And I think that started shaping me more into being more intentional about my questions when I ask and really like taking the time to listen. But then like, as I've gotten to know different runners, and I typically, and right now I only have women athletes, they go through different stages in their life. Like they go from heavy periods to no periods. We got perimenopause, we got menopause, we got postmenopause, and all of these things are happening. And each of these different phases in each of a woman's life is unique. And you can't just go there with a list of questions. You have to go there with one question or a tell me more or whatever it is they're saying. And then you just have to keep branching out. And as I've gotten to know more and more women, at the different stages that they're at, I'm able to ask better questions. Like when they say something, I'll be like, this is what I'm pretty sure I heard you say. Is that right? And if they say, yeah, I've normally already got another question that I'm going to go to. If they say, no, you misunderstood, then it's just going back and figuring it out. But my questions have got my brain total.
That's okay. Just being vulnerable the way you are allow you to connect with your athletes on a deeper and much faster level than if you're just trying to get to know each other.
Yeah. Going with that. So what that does, so because it doesn't go, and we don't have to talk about the logarithm the whole much, but since it doesn't go to non-followers, it helps me deepen that relationship with the people who already invested in me. Whether they're a friend who is supporting my business by following me on Instagram, whether it's a future athlete, whether it's a current athlete, or it's somebody who's just on the fence or just learning from my Instagram page, it deepens that connection there. And I have some people almost every time it's like a super, super sensitive topic. Like I just posted yesterday, I always get a couple of DMs saying, man, I've went through that, like, and they share, and they're not ready to share outwardly, like with other people, but they're willing to talk to me because I share. So, I like that. And that's why I share my story, no matter how hard it is, no matter how sometimes it's like this, I might get some comments. It's like, you know what, there's more people out there who need help. And I'm not going to worry about the people who are just going to be an asshole, like, because you can't.
Yeah. And I'll want you to chime in on this too. So when I talked about my disordered eating as I was training for Ironman events, and I finally posted about it, and it took me a long time, and it was really hard to press the publish button, and I made sure to publish it. I think it was on a Saturday, so I wasn't in front of the laptop when it went live. I could be away and didn't have to see it. But Christy Kennedy, who I raced Ironman Maryland with, responded to it and said, thank you for sharing this. I would be interested in talking to you for a story on your website and on your social platforms to help others too. And I think there's power in that, right? Like when to your point, there's always going to be somebody who's negative, right? And you just have to block that person out because 99 people out of 100 are going to be supportive. There's power in that to be able to then say that story again and again and again. And for me, it's going to touch on something you just posted about that you heard when I talked to Adam Lee from Community Trail Running, right? By talking about my disordered eating and being able to talk about it more and more and more, I'm going to be able to help those millions of people as opposed to a single person. And I know, you've gone through your obstacles too with drinking and weight loss and even just starting running. When you share those stories, does that also help you become a stronger person to then bring other people into your world and show them that they can be strong too?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. I think that there's one person who was on our Fireside Chat, Evan Birch, who puts it in such an amazing way, and he repeats this message over and over. Thank you.
It is like we're still seeing, and it's not just certain people, but like you see them all like dressed up or doing all these amazing things all the time, and you never see any real. It's just like, and for me, that has no, and I know it's okay for some people, but I'm like, that does nothing for me. When I see something real, I'm like, that's it. Like, that's what I need to see out here. And that's how you get connected after we have all like, sort of, we can see everything. We're so like internet connected, but to get the real connection back is being open with all those things. So, yeah.
Yeah. Lori has a message for all of us. Your mess is your message. And that's 100% accurate, right?
Yeah.
Lori and I talk about this a lot. Like if we all threw our troubles into a pile and we looked at which one we wanted to take out, we would absolutely take our own troubles out. we wouldn't pick somebody else's bullshit. We're like, no, that's way too fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Here's my own bullshit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I think I was gonna probably go into, we're always on the same wave, so I think it's always like, he's going into what I was gonna talk about. So, but yeah, it's something we talked about in the green room, and just want to congratulate you for launching the TrailblazeHER program for women over 30. And I hear that it's a 6-week program, and I just want to give you the floor to talk more about it. And can I just say I love the name TrailblazeHER.
Yeah.
We're just trailblazer, you know? Like,
yeah. Lori actually had to brainstorm with me a little bit before, and all the things were empower her and strong her. Those have all been taken. And I was sitting there one day, and I was actually Chat GPT, by the way, just trying to like get some ideas. And TrailblazeHER never came up, but I saw trail somewhere and I saw blaze somewhere, and I was like, and connect. So it's been like, and it hasn't been a constant thought process, but it's been like a 6-month like process, and I'm like, this is perfect. So the full name is TrailblazeHER, Elevating Women Athletes, just full, but TrailblazeHER is obviously gonna be the shortened version. I plan on doing programs with that overarching theme for a long time, and have several of them, but this one is called Intros to the 4 M's of Transformation. And the 4 M's are mindset, movement, moderation, and momentum. And for me, these are all intertwined together. Like you can't have one without the other. And I'm a huge proponent of doing small changes within all of these pieces. So if you need a mindset shift, we have to make small changes there. If you want to run an ultra, but you've ran a 5K and you haven't ran anything above that, we need to make small changes to get you to that piece. If you want to change your nutrition plan, it's a small change. If you want to change what time you get up in the morning, just because it's there's all of these little pieces that build up to the momentum. So all of those just build up to that piece of it. But the program itself it's a 6-week online program with me. So once a week we have a live call. It's recorded. So if somebody has to miss it or can't make it, like they're going to get it. It's going to be a lesson with one of the 4 M's each time. So it'll be an intro one, the first one. The next 4 weeks we'll go into the 4 M's and we'll wrap it up. But with that, with all the coaching and explaining and going to the details of all of that, they're going to get a 6-week strength training program, and then help with their next 6 weeks after they're done with me for a progression of that 6-week strength training program. That we are going to talk about how they can build their own running plan. So even though I do coach people one-to-one, and I never think that's going to go away, I want to be able to help people who either cannot afford a one-to-one coach, or they really enjoy doing it themselves and they just need a little bit of guidance on what that looks like. So that'll be a couple of things. There's going to be a private Facebook community. It's all women, obviously TrailblazeHER, but like all women, where it's just going to be a super comfortable space where there's no judgment, where everybody can come for accountability, for support. If they have questions on form, whatever that looks like, if they need just one accountability buddy, be like, hey, how can I do this, and what can I do? Like we're similar. We both have 2 kids who are about the same age, being able to connect people who have similarities. And so that'll launch May 22nd. But since I launched it just today, I am doing a $50 discount for those 6 weeks. Which pretty stoked. I've already had some pretty good interest. I wasn't sure with just launching how that goes, but it's been really great. I've got a lot of good questions. But if you guys do go, I'll give my Instagram information at the end, but there's a whole bunch of information there, and I have a page that explains everything more in detail. But it's a really great opportunity for you to get time with a group of women who struggle with time and consistency just because of our crazy unique lives, to meet. And then once we go through, and I keep calling them lessons, once we go through whatever lesson that is of the day, it's very interactive. I'm going to ask bunches of questions. The end of the call is going to be wrapped up with you guys being able to ask me anything you want. So it's how my business coach does things. She teaches a lesson, and then at the end, it doesn't have to be about the topic at hand. It can be like, hey, I ran a marathon last year and I built my own plan, but it didn't go well. Like what can we talk about that? And so they're going to get that time in the group setting with me to answer any question they have every single week. So the plan is, if they need me for 3 hours, because they have questions for 3 hours, I'm going to stay on there. If they need me for an hour and a half, I'm going to stay there to have every question. That's really for me. That's how my business coach works well for her too, because her hourly rate, she's amazing. It's super expensive, but if we go with a group program, I can learn from others and I can still ask her all the questions that I have. So
if you're going to be on that call for 3 hours, make sure you have snacks.
Oh, I will have snacks. I will have water.
Trail runners and snacks, especially in that's a whole other topic there. Like I'm in a peak training week right now, and like I just can't tell you how many snacks I'm reaching for. I mean, I've always been a snacker, but man. But
do you get hungry? Or sorry, I gotta ask the week. I get hungry the week after my peak week. So peak week I'm hungry, but then that week after, my body's like, I want to eat all the things.
Peak week, I'm definitely hungry, but the week after, I'm definitely like way more hungry.
Okay.
And I also, I mean, like I just like I give my body what it wants. My body knows.
Yeah.
And honestly, like you need the calories to recover from peak week. And that's, you know, definitely a topic we could dive into. But I wanted to say like how refreshing it is when you have this world of like coaches and trainers, and not calling anybody out, but there's this thing of like staying grinding and like working to the extreme and like going all in or all out. And I just love there's a refreshing note to seeing the word moderation in there among your 4Ms, like moderation, starting small. I have a mantra that I have, all or something. If you can't do the 30-minute run, do the 10-minute run. If you can't do the 30-minute strength workout, do the 5-minute workout. Like do something, right? And if you can't do any of those, then do recovery. That's as much a big part of your training. But I wanted to talk a bit about that moderation. And then also the other M that I'm very interested in is the word that you have created as part of your philosophy, movementum. So talk about moderation and movementum.
I actually, it's only momentum, but now I feel like I need to do movementum.
I don't know why I read. Okay, well, I just created an idea for you.
And I'm like, hold on, nobody take that. We got it. Sorry.
We're marketing geniuses here, even when we don't mean to be.
I swear, look at the post. It says movementum. I'm
not man.
crazy.
I got a typo then. I got to work on some things.
No, it's not a typo.
You better go put the TM above it right now.
It's not, I didn't think that was a typo. I thought that was an ingenious idea. Like that.
Sure, that's what it is. It's an ingenious idea that I didn't even know came out of my noggin. That's how good it was. So now I have to reframe everything.
It was a Freudian slip.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so moderation, and I think a lot of people they don't know how to think about moderation in terms of ultra running. Like when people hear ultra running, they don't hear moderation. They're like, oh my gosh, you're running a 50K. And I'm like, dude, there's a 250-mile race this weekend. 50K is nothing. But it really is something, guys. For you about to run your first 50K, it's a huge deal. Just so you know. Huge. Yes. But yeah, so really how I teach moderation is it's about keeping that balance, and I hate the work-life balance. That's not what the balance is. The balance is you having your unique needs and must-dos and those non-negotiables in there, building those into those like what you want to do and how, and those things that sometimes just like come up. That just, so it's finding the balance between all of those things and how does that look? So say for example, like everybody, like I work a corporate job, I coach, I'm married, I have a stepdaughter, I train for ultras. Like there's other things that happen too, there's swim lessons that Gia goes to. There's just always these things. And I have to find a moderation in how much I can run to train, say for a 50-mile race. How many miles can I actually run in my life? Not what's the ideal amount, because there is an ideal amount if you have nothing else going on, but what is my ideal amount? Because that's my moderation. What am I eating on these runs? What time am I eating? Like when, so I don't miss a meal, because when I'm doing my corporate job and then I'm go straight to coaching, I have to make sure I'm eating when I need to and eating what I need to, and making sure I'm not binging at night because I didn't eat enough throughout the day. And then along like with weightlifting, and that's what Ohm touched on there, where he's like, if you can't do your normal workout, do a 5-minute one. And that's what I do too. And I preach it to my athletes. I'm like, if you can't get your strength training in, and we have mobility and strength, do your mobility. And they're always like, but you love strength training. I'm like, fuck strength training today. Mobility. Like seriously, getting that range of motion, getting those hips, keeping those hips loose, especially when it comes to trail running, it's vital. So if you have to cut something out, do your mobility for 5 or 10 minutes. Get it done.
It doesn't matter how strong you are if you can't move at all.
Yeah. It doesn't. I follow a dude on Instagram who's I wish I could remember his name. It's the bearded something, but he is the most mobile guy I have ever seen. And I thought, I'm watching what he can do, but how he got into it is he was a bodybuilder, but his body hurt all the time. So aesthetically, he looked great. And a lot of people like that aesthetic look, but he felt like shit. And he's like, I still want to look muscular, but I want to feel better. And he didn't take a big break from strength training, but he took a break from bodybuilding, I think is his story. And he started doing mobility, and the ways he can bend is just like, I don't even know if you need to bend that way, but I'm still super impressed by it. But it shows that a lot of people still focus. This is still about moderation. They're still focused on the aesthetics of what they're doing. They want to look good, which is totally fine, but there's so much focus on it. They don't think about the pain. They don't, or they think about it, but they're like, I look good, so I don't care. So it's having that moderation in your brain of even knowing what you're doing to your body and saying, I need to back off because I don't feel right. What's going on?
I think the key that you mentioned there is knowing your body, right? Like when I raced Cocodona a number of years ago, my peak weeks were like 60, 65 miles. And I know people who are running upwards of 100 to 120 for marathons or 50 Ks. But I know my body, and I know that I want to go swimming. I know if I ride my bike, I know if I do my strength training, I know if I do my mobility and my core work, like all of those things are going to help me from a health perspective to get to, the 100-mile finish line or whatever. But that's because I know my body. And I think what has happened a lot in this world today, we talked about being connected, is I see Ohm running 120 miles this week, so I should run 120 miles this week. Or I see, Brittany doing deadlifts, so I should be doing deadlifts, without recognizing and realizing, or contacting a person like yourself who's a coach to say, here are the things that I'd like to do. Here are the things that I am doing. Can you help me improve on this? And being able to lay the groundwork so that an athlete can go from A to Z in a way that gets them to know their body as well as they should know it when they're involved in these sports. How do you bridge that gap? How do you bridge the gap of social media influence and reality?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, even sometimes for me mentally, it's tough, but even coaching other athletes or talking to just friends about it, it's a really tough space because you see these people who are doing awesome things, whether they don't even have to be like the elites. It can be people who are those everyday athletes, but you see their mileage, or you see like what they're doing, or you see what they look like, or you see what they eat, and you're like, I should be doing this because that's what they're doing, like you just said. And a lot of times it starts with asking those questions. Again, like they're like, because I do get questions a lot. And it's funny, my athletes normally start with, I trust you, but I have this question. I'm like, guys, I'm telling you trust me. It's okay to have questions. Like, just so, but they'll be like, well, I saw this person on Instagram and like, they're doing like the same 50K and this is what, they're doing. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, and I said, do you know what their goals are? And they're like, well, no. And I was like, okay. I said, let's talk about what your goals are. Like, let's just have that talk. So we go back through and we make sure their goals are still the same. And as long as their goals are still the same, it's like, okay. And I will explain why. I don't hide secret. Like, I don't have this big secret. Like, I'm a coach and I don't want you to know so I can keep coaching you forever. I don't hide anything. I'm like, here's why I have this set up this way. Here's what's going on. Like, this is why. And like, if somebody's like, well, like, I don't think I can fit, like, they'll do it. Like, I don't think I can fit strength and mobility. And this person online never, ever does strength or mobility. And I was like, first of all, there are very few people who don't do strength and mobility who can recover quickly, who can keep doing this longer into life. Because I have everyday athletes and they want to do this for a long time. These people are normally ones who are running super fast, whose bodies can take it for a while, and then just burn out, but a lot of getting it. But it is. So it's the cost of what it does. Like, if you want to hear how people more, so that kind of thing. Lost my train of thought on that one. Sorry.
It's all right. Somebody's popping fireworks right now. It's all
really?
No, whatever it was gone. Technical
Okay.
issues are always just part of the Fireside Chat.
I was like, I was bridging gaps and stuff was happening. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But it's making them think about like what they told me in the beginning, if anything's changed. And sometimes it has changed. And just letting them know, like, okay. And then a lot of times it's like, somebody's like, well, this person's doing this kind of training. And I'm like, okay. Like sometimes I even ask who it is and they tell me who it is. I'm like, that person has been running trails and ultras for 25 years. Their body's a little bit different. Like this is your first ultra. So sometimes it's just even setting those, because I set expectations up front very clearly, just so they know. But then again, when you start seeing the social media things, they're like, well, this person does this. And then I'm like, yeah, that person's been an elite runner for 8 years. Like that's, so sometimes it's just letting them know, like, it's just, we're all different and unique. And that's why I'm willing to share in a group program too, about how to help yourself and how to progress your runs and how to get to your first 50K or 100K or whatever that is, because I don't want to hide it. There's always going to be a need for coaches because people need people like me to ask them these questions, keep them on track, give them strength training plans that are actually applicable to like what they're doing in life and in running. So like, that's just why I say like, it's about, for me, it's about never having a secret from your athlete. It's telling them all the things and letting them know the truth. Because sometimes it's hard to tell, because I can tell, I have a few people who really like to race, but they have certain goals. And I'm like, hey, you can race more in your training block, but we have to adjust what your goal is for your A race, because it's not going to be what you want it to be if you're racing this much in between. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's we live in this world now where like you can see everybody else's stuff, like on Strava, you can see what everybody else is doing with their workouts.
And people want crowns. And I'm like, no, we don't want crowns, because that means you're running too hard during a training run.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a massive like influx of like things going on, right? Like you got Strava, you've got people going after FKTs, you've got like social media. And this is a question this is leading into the obvious question that Jason knows that I ask like every coach and trainer, and just to see if they'll go on a rant of fury about it. But like social media and the perception on social media of like some people showing only part of like the work, or like showing what we call the sexy workout. Like you see those videos of, again, not calling anybody out, like the influencer who is running fast on every single run, or doing like box jumps in their training and like doing these like dynamic lifts, but you hardly ever see, and you're very good about portraying this, but like you hardly ever see like, this is a mobility session, this is me with my foam roller, like people don't realize that that's part of the work, that unsexy part. If anything, it's a big part of the work. So talk about that a little bit and how that perception needs to change and how you're doing it on your end.
Yeah, and I mentioned a little bit earlier how a lot of people are kind of sick of the bullshit ones, like seeing all the good all the time. It's like, that can't be real. Like, that's not real life. But again, and as you said, I'm like, one thing that first of all, I always show mobility because I want people to do it. Like, that's always a thing. But my business mentor, she put it in an Instagram post recently, and one of the things she had listed was like what decisions to make. And one of her sentences, all it simply said was, decide you're okay with being boring. And that was like, yes, like, I was like, holy cow, that's what I'm trying to tell people, because it is a decision. It is, some days it feels like a grind because you're busy with everything. Some days it feels a little bit easier, but it's doing that consistency and doing the boring. It's doing squats that are not amazing. They're just squats. But if you do those for the rest of your life, starting today, like, holy cow, you're going to have that consistency. You're going to have those results. If you do mobility for 5 minutes a day for the next year, holy cow, the changes are going to happen. And guess what? It's boring in the fact that it's the same thing in and out, but it's also, you're building a habit where your brain doesn't have to use mental power anymore. Once you have the habit of doing it, it opens up your brain to do other things and think about other things too.
It goes beyond that too, though, right? Yeah. Like if you can do the boring shit day in and day out, and day out, when you get to race day, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit, I can go really fucking fast, and I don't have to worry about tomorrow because tomorrow is a recovery day.
Yep.
It's like, but if you're racing every single training block, then race day is not special. It's it's like another race. It's like another run, right?
Yeah.
And it's so hard for people to understand this. You guys mentioned Strava earlier, and begrudgingly, I'm going to go back to it because I need to find cycling routes out here. But I remember when I was using Strava years ago, and an athlete would post every single time, easy run. And you'd click and open it, and it'd be like zone 1, 0, zone 2, 0, zone 3, 0, zone 4, 55%, zone 5, 45%. You're like, there's fucking nothing easy about that. Like, zero of what you did was easy. Who are you trying to impress? Well, don't do the fucking easy work. So on race day, you can run in zone 4 and zone 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't red light it. You don't red light it during training. I mean, we have workouts, obviously, but yeah, those, man, that's
short intervals, 30 seconds, right? Like
exactly.
a minute, maybe a mile repeat on a longer day. But that, like the entire run for 2 hours at zone 4 and 5, and you're calling it easy run? Nah, Holmes, that ain't it.
No,
big shocker, guys. 80 to 90% of my runs, depending on which training cycle I'm in, are in zone 1, zone 2, and they look like a slow shuffle. Like, I'm not going fast around the track or fast on the downhill or blazing up the hill on every single run. Like, that's not going to happen. If you, I would love a challenge where, like, you take an influencer or you take a person, or we do the challenge where it's just like every single day you post the run so that they know it's like what it is every single day, as opposed to like picking and nitpicking the things that, you know, like are sexy and glamorous.
Yeah. And it's for all sports. It's not just runners, cyclists, you know, triathletes in cycling and swimming as well, right? Like, it feels as if we don't show off a number, that it almost discounts the workout. Like, the work didn't happen because we didn't hit a perceived number, right? Because it's all perception. I don't know what your ability is to swim 100 yards. It might be 110. How do I know, right? It might be 210. How would I know? Like,
230 right here.
And good for you. Like, that's great. You know? Congratulations. I have no idea what that means to me, and I shouldn't, because it's not me.
Yeah.
You know, but like,
well, I say it reminds me, like, I remember as a kid, they probably still say it. I hope they get rid of it eventually, but it's like, always give 100%. Pro athletes don't even always give 100% because our bodies cannot give 100% all the time. Like, they're given 60 to 80% in practice. And I'm not dissing pro athletes. They have to maintain that elite status that they have. And that's what I try to share with my athletes lately, because it kind of struck me. I was like, I hate that phrase. How can I explain it? And I'm like, think of it this way. If those athletes are going 100% all the time, they're not elite athletes. They're on the bench. They're injured. They're not playing. Like, they're given 60 to 80% at practice because they have to do practice to stay in shape, but they're going to give 100%, or, you know, whatever they can in that game. So
if we're talking pet peeves, my biggest pet peeve is when somebody says I gave it 110%.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go above 100%.
100%. You can only give it 100%.
If you're at 110%, that's your new 100. That's your new baseline. That's where you're starting at. Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah. It is funny. There's a lot of sayings that I feel like, you know, go big or go home. I'm like, first of all, I like being home, but secondly, like, but it's just like, why do I have to go big all the time? Why? But yeah, so it's, I don't know. There's all
never miss a Monday. Watch me miss this fucking Monday.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
It's just insane. I mean, people ask me how I race as much as I do, and I'm like, because not every race is my A race. Some of them I'm actually just going out to train.
Yeah. Supported training runs. Those are some of the best ones. And the only time I have to make sure an athlete knows it's a train, or like make sure they're going to treat it as a training run, you cannot finish in under this time. Like, that's the rule, because I promise I'll use it as a training. And I know, because I've been the same way where I'm like, this is a training run. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, this is not a training run. Oh no. Like, so it's definitely a mindset thing to knowing who cares about our score on ultra sign up. Like, who cares about that? Like, yeah.
This is why I don't register for races as training runs, because I don't have the governor. Like,
okay.
It's all gas, no brakes. It's fucking show up and blow up. Like, lives on, races on. And so I cannot do it. It's damn near impossible for me to get to a starting line and be like, well, I'm just going to take it easy here, because I could just take it easy at home. I don't have to be at a starting line to to take it. So, but this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. You have to know what motivates you. You have to know what keeps you going. Otherwise, you can get hurt, right? You can get injured in different things or create burnout. Like if I was to register for races to just do training runs and practice in a way, like I would get burned out because I would get so hyped up and I'd be ready to race. And then it's like, and then I would have that depression of why aren't we racing kind of thing. And if I kept repeating that, eventually I'd be like, I'm just fucking not doing it anymore. So for me, the race day is the special part, which is why I also say, like, if you're racing every training, man, then race day is not special. Race day is just another day. So for me, I can't do that. And I think it just goes back to this whole idea of knowing yourself. And if you're trying to figure out who you are in that sense, find somebody like you, Brittany, who can ask you 5 questions to their 1 question, right? And help them work through that process of not just the physical side of it all, but the mental side of this. Like I always tell people, like these sports are fucking hard. Like I don't care who you are, they are fucking hard. Like you could be joining the book club where you're not in the physical activity side of it, but you still chose to do the physical part of it, and it's hard. So get to know your body, get to know where to put different things on a training plan. Work with somebody like yourself. Adina's commented on our Instagram, and she said forward is a pace. Just saying, and she's correct. But find somebody like her who's also a coach. Find somebody like Adam, our other community leader, who's a coach who can help you put these building blocks together so that you don't burn out, you don't get hurt, and and you're constantly reminded as to your why for doing these things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally agree. Yeah. And I actually don't race that much, but mine's pre-race anxiety. Doesn't matter if it's going to be a training race or not. My stomach hurts so bad and I can't eat. Once I start, I'm fine, but I hate that first part of it. So for me, I'm not like Jason where I just go balls out, but like I have to like, it's not fun for me to have that stomach ache in the beginning. So like I love the training process. I say that I love training. Oh my gosh, I have a blast. And then all of a sudden it's the night before the race and I'm like, why did I sign up for this? Why didn't I do the 5K? Like what's happening in my life? And then once I start, I'm fine. But that pre-race anxiety for me is my reason I don't race as much.
Oh my God, same. I mean, I just struggle so much with pre-race anxiety, but I know that like it's crazy because I tell people, they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." Like as soon as I start moving my body and I gauge everything, and those first couple miles passes, I'm like, I'm locked in. But like the day before, like I've really had to create a mantra over time, or like a ritual over time, and some mantras, and like just have to like turn off my phone after a certain point and just try to keep like a neutral mindset. And like there's a whole process for me as an honorary overthinker. So
yeah.
You guys need to either race with me or have me on your crew. And I'll tell you a story. I raced Ironman Louisville a number of years ago, and I was with a friend. It was her first Ironman, and we're standing in line to get ready to jump in the water. And she is petrified. Like her face is white. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm just so nervous about this." And you have to walk in a line for a while before you jump in the water. It's a drop. It used to be a drop-in start. Race doesn't exist anymore. But we're standing there, and I get this feeling of like euphoria and this look on my face, like, And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I am peeing in my wetsuit, and it feels so good right now." And it totally broke her. She totally laughed, and she like just relaxed, and she got ready to race, and she had a really good race. But it's like it goes to that whole idea of like the race anxiety and the stress and everything about it. And we work really hard to get to the starting line and get to race day. We all do. And that's why for me, like the journey is so important, and the race day is my victory lap. Like I want to perform, I want to do great, but it's not indicative of the 16 weeks that I've just gone through in training for the event. And I think if we can take away that edge a little bit, then we can have fun. So I happily volunteer to be somebody's humorous sidekick at the start of an event to get you over that race anxiety and those stomach aches. Like I'm
gonna make you wear a wetsuit to my next ultra, and at the start line you're gonna have to pee in your wetsuit.
If it makes people laugh and gets them like past the anxiety before the gun goes off, I'm all in. Let's do it.
Oh, that would kill me if Jason shows up in a wetsuit to crew you. That would be that is premium content right there.
We'll go get Blue 70 has the floaty shorts, and I could get those instead of a whole wetsuit, and I can just run in those too for a little while.
Hey, guys, if you want to do what Jason does, use code RTMAG20 to get 20% off your
RTMAG24. RTMAG24.
RTMAG24.
Brittany, before we jump into the rapid fire questions, tell us where people can find you besides here on Instagram if they want to learn more about you and then join your Trailblazer program as well as bring you on as a coach.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, the big piece is Instagram, because that's where everything's linked to. Like, my group program is the very first link. My website's like the second link. So my website is www.sunrisetrailscoaching.com. I try to keep it all the same. You can email me at coachbrittany@sunrisetrailscoaching.com. But yeah, those are really the main pieces that you can contact me at. But Instagram's probably the best. It has the most content. If you're just looking to learn some stuff, jump on there and follow me. Like, I'm putting out tips and solutions and different things. So I'm totally good with that. So yeah, but excited.
Awesome.
Reach out.
So you ready for our rapid fire questions through food choices?
Yeah, I'm nervous because I'm going to have questions.
No, this is bullshit. Like,
all right.
Stop breaking the rules. Like, show your athletes that you can actually answer a question without asking why. Oreos. Do you go OG, double stuff, or those other products that they make which are nonsensical, the Thins and the Cakesters?
Oh, it'd be OG. I haven't had an Oreo in a while, but OG. Yeah.
And the straight up variety, the chocolate with the vanilla middle?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
If we are talking about potato chips, what's your favorite flavor of potato chips?
Jalapeno kettle cooked.
Ooh. Nice.
Yes, I got it right.
I had an assumption that you might go like dill because of the saltiness that comes with the dill, but jalapeno is a good option.
It's a good. I like dill chips, but you said I had to pick one, and jalapeno. If Greg's grabbed me something from the store and it's a snack, it's the jalapeno kettle cooked.
You followed the rules. Congratulations.
You guys need to try Honey Dijon. That's like my go-to kettle chip.
Oh.
It just hits right when it's in your crew bag, when you're in your drop bag later in the race, and you just start snacking on those. Something about those just hits right. But kettle chips for sure, it just hits so good on the trail run.
Right.
I will say trail running chips. A lot of times I take Pringles only because they're easy to grab. Like they're stack. But it's not because they're my favorite chip. It's just easy to grab those out. So anyway,
candy corn. Is candy corn a real candy, or is it earwax covered in sugar?
It's earwax covered in sugar. That's I didn't you see my face as soon as you said candy corn? Yeah. I'm like, ew.
I could see the look of disgust, which they've been using as their marketing supposedly for years.
It fucking works because they're still selling it.
Yeah, there's huge bags around Halloween. Like, I'm like, who's buying this? They have them at Costco, and I'm like, who is buying this?
All of that crap. Everybody makes fun of the grandma candy dish, but the shit's still selling, and
Fox
is making a killing on it.
The butterscotch little hard candies, man. Those things, Werther's, they're just out there. Yeah.
Easter wasn't that long ago, so out of these 4 Easter candy choices, what are you going with? The hollow chocolate bunny, the Reese's peanut butter egg, the Cadbury cream egg, or regular old plain Brock's jelly beans?
Reese's peanut butter egg. You didn't even need to go after that one. Yeah, that's it.
You like the peanut butter egg over the Christmas tree?
No, so I think all the shapes taste the same, and they taste slightly different.
Of course they do. It's the same fucking product.
The cups taste different. The cups have more chocolate than peanut butter. The shapes have more peanut butter than what the cups do.
The marketers at Reese's are thrilled to hear you talk about some difference. They're like, sell more.
The cups and the shapes are different.
I love it. As long as nobody's having that caramel Reese's peanut butter crap.
What is that?
Ew.
It was a whole Super Bowl commercial where they had launched like a caramel version of Reese's peanut butter, and I'm like, but the point of it is the chocolate and the peanut butter. We don't need caramel.
No. Have you
No.
seen the new Reese's medals?
No.
Yeah, it's shaped like a medal, like literally, like if you just won an event, or like when we finish events, they give us a medal.
You know, if
Are
I
they?
become a race director, I might just give those out.
I know. I was gonna say, do those taste like the peanut butter cups or the shapes? Did you test it?
I almost, there's like this thing with the Olympics of people biting their medals. I almost want to like paint them in the fool's gold and give them out and see who bites into them and goes, okay.
Yeah, like, all right.
The only problem is that, like, Brittany, you can't give those out in Phoenix. The winners would just get handfuls of melted chocolate.
I mean, right now, but there's a space for that, like in December. On December 23rd, I think we can actually hand those out. Yeah. One day.
Are you a fan of licorice?
Yes.
Red or black?
Red.
Red vines or Twizzlers?
Red vines.
Do you use it as a straw?
I haven't done that in a while. I forgot about that. I could say not anymore, but I did. Yeah.
Is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
Oh. I gotta go with taco because it's not a sandwich. I can't give it a sandwich status. I don't know.
The bun is much thicker than a tortilla is gonna be, so it's gotta be.
I know, but it's a hot dog. It's not a fucking sandwich or a taco. Like, I know. that one threw me. That was a good one. Are
you a fan of hot dogs?
I love hot dogs.
Yes!
Yeah. We left Lowe's one day because we're converting our van, and there was a hot dog vendor outside, and I ate. I don't even know what was on this hot dog, but I ate it. And we've left a concert in LA before, and the vendor outside was selling hot dogs. He was making bank. It was $10 a hot dog, and you better believe it was wrapped in. Oh yeah, and we ate it. It was like 11:30 when we were hungry, and it was just like we like grabbed it. We should have got two. We got one, and we were like in the corner, like stuffing it, like just eating it, and it was yeah.
Hey guys, this is our last fireside chat. We'll now be run, try, bike, hot dogs.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the crypto arena now that Jason's here in LA.
$10 a hot dog. Holy crap.
That's what I was like, well.
What are you putting on your hot dog? And before you answer, I'll explain my hot dog assembly. So Cocodona week, and Lori had told me that they were going to have vegan hot dogs at the top of Mingus. And so I told my crew, I need vegan hot dogs at the top of Mingus, and it has to be like this. You need the bun, crumble some chips, put some mustard, put the hot dog, put some mustard, and then crumble some chips on top of that. And it is the greatest thing ever. Salt, the meat, the mustard, tangy, the bread. So when you're assembling your hot dog, what's the assembly process for your hot dogs?
Okay, so good question. Because at home there's more basic ingredients because I don't keep chips here all the time. I said I love jalapeno chips. I do. Like I get a party size bag, and it's for me. I am the party. So like, but so if I would have chips at home, it would be I've never crumbled them underneath, so I need to do that. But I do mustard. I love mustard. No ketchup does not belong on a hot dog. So I put mustard on the bottom, hot dog, and then more mustard, and then I'll put chips on it. If we have some good sauerkraut, I even put a little sauerkraut on top of it because I love sauerkraut. That's the basicness of it at home. If I go to a hot dog vendor though, it's on. Like it is like, what do you got? Like, because I love a good Chicago hot dog. Like, oh yeah, I know you don't. I know how you feel about them, but man, that relish and mustard and like outside of the tomato, I'm not a big tomato person, but yeah, it's got to be mustard.
Dirty Water Dogs in New York City. This is where you wouldn't use ketchup. So you put a line of mustard and a line of ketchup. Then you put sauerkraut, and then you have them put this red onion mixture on top of that. Sabret sells it in a jar in grocery stores as well. So you get that heated up before you put it on there. And that combination, perfect Dirty Water Dog out of New York City.
With ketchup though, like what does that do to it? Because I'm such a mustard person.
It adds
so
the sweet into the whole combination.
Okay. I'll be open-minded about that because I'm willing to try something like that. Yeah.
So pineapple was a nay. Our Food Fight Friday from last week was you have 4 choices: plain, pepperoni, sausage, or mushroom. Where are you going?
Oh man, you don't remember this. I answered that one without even a question. I said mushroom.
Ooh, okay. I love that. I do love mushroom.
Yeah, mushroom for sure. Like it's not that I don't like sausage at all. It's just more I love mushrooms. So put them on the pizza. Yeah.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, I don't eat much, so it has to be non-dairy. I can't do dairy ice cream, but there was a some kind of cookie dough one that I was Halo Top cookie dough, and it was coconut milk ice cream, and that was really good. But then there's an oat milk one that's cookie dough too. So it seems like it's cookie dough. It's a different kind of milk probably. Yeah.
Trader Joe's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say the best type of non-dairy ice cream you can get is either cashew milk or oat milk, because they both have like some fatty content. And it's weird because oats don't have fat in them, but oat milk creates like this fatty content that allows it to be closer, doesn't like freeze. Like almond milk freezes so hard. It's terrible.
Yeah. I tried a soy ice cream and did not enjoy it either. It wasn't the frozen, it just didn't taste like there was something missing completely. So yeah.
If you can make your way to Trader Joe's, they have like these oat milk like sandwich bars, ice creams that are so good. They're just amazing.
I'm gonna have to look. I don't remember seeing that. We go to Trader Joe's and I don't remember seeing those because I always look at the ice cream, but maybe I'm just missing the sandwich part because I'm always looking at the little cartons.
They're so good.
Okay.
Top 3 candies.
Peanut butter M&Ms, Reese's, the shapes, not the cups. I'm kidding. but no, peanut butter and M&Ms, the Reese's cups, Reese's shapes, and then Reese's Pieces. Are you getting the chocolate and peanut butter theme?
I see that.
Those are my, yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that the peanut butter M&Ms are in at the top of that list. I don't find their consistency to be as good as the Reese's Pieces ones.
It's been a switch actually in the past 2 years of my life. Reese's peanut butter cups have been #1 like my whole life, and I don't know what it is. I think Greg brought home some peanut butter M&Ms once, and I hadn't had them in a while. Now they're like my go-to. Like I don't crave sweets, I crave salt, but when I want something sweet, I like to be able to put a little handful in my hand and eat it because like I don't need to eat a whole like thing of sweets when I get it. So I like having bite size. It's like the dark chocolate peanut butter cups from Trader Joe's. Holy cow, those are amazing. But I like the little things like that.
Last question, because you've been so gracious with your time. Last question. Brownies. Are you the kind of person that wants the edge with a little bit of hard crust on there? Or are you going right to the middle and getting the gooey center?
I'm going to the middle.
What do you put on top of your brownie?
Nothing.
Nothing? No nuts? No ice cream?
Well, definitely not ice cream. But no, like, no, I don't know. I was like, I haven't had a brownie in a while, but normally I go for the middle and then I just eat it. And I like it when it's still warm. So I don't wait for it to cool. Like you get in the middle, it's still gooey and you can take a spoon. You don't even need to like cut a piece. You just spoon it out and just eat it. Like maybe that's where I was confused. I'm like, wait, like what, why are we're just getting a spoon and we're just eating it. And then we're leaving the edges, like just the edges for everybody else.
You go from it. You're like, I don't really like a lot of sweets. Maybe a couple of M&Ms. Give me a spoon.
When it comes to fresh, I don't think Greg even knows this. He's never seen that. But like when I was single, man, if I'd made a brownie thing, I would eat from the pan and just eat in the middle. It was just like, don't worry about me.
You're lying. You wouldn't even bake it. You just put it in the bowl, mix it up.
And just go with the spoon. Yeah, especially if it comes with chocolate chips in it. Just like,
Yeah. I love it. Brittany, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. SunriseTrailsCoaching.com. Follow it on Instagram. Go to their website. Check her out. She'll help you with your mindset as well as your physical ability to get to your finish line. Brittany, thank you so much. We'll see everybody again next week on our 107th episode of Fireside Chats.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brittany.